If I told you there's a habit silently destroying your confidence, your energy, your masculinity, and your future, and you're doing it alone in the dark, pretending it means nothing, would you still ignore it? Because after today, you won't be able to. When I say this next line, I want you to sit with it for a moment. Not react, not justify, not defend, just listen. Your life is shrinking because of the habits you think are harmless. When you try to talk to someone, your words don't come out with conviction. When you think about your future, you don't feel the fire. When you look in the mirror, you don't see a man who is in control. You see a man who is controlled by a habit he doesn't want to admit he's addicted to. You know why this habit is so dangerous? Because it convinces you that you're not hurting anyone, but you are. You're hurting yourself. You're hurting your energy. You're hurting your potential. You're hurting your emotional strength. You're hurting your future relationship. You're hurting your future self-respect. You're hurting your masculinity by giving it away to a screen instead of building it through discipline. Every single time you relapse, you don't just lose energy. You lose intention. You lose presence. You lose the sharpness in your thinking. You lose the authority in your voice. You lose the charisma in your eyes. You lose the stability in your emotions. You lose the very thing that makes you a powerful man, your self-control. But here's the deeper truth no one talks about. It's not just a physical habit. It's emotional anesthesia. It's your escape from discomfort, from loneliness, from stress, from boredom, from your own thoughts. You don't masturbate because you want pleasure. You masturbate because you want distraction. You want silence in your mind. You want relief from the pressure of becoming who you know you can be. And the biggest lie you tell yourself is, I can quit anytime. If you could, you would have already. Let's be honest, for the first time, you keep going back because you don't know who you are without this habit. You're afraid of the version of yourself that takes responsibility. You're scared of discipline. You're scared of the power that comes with self-control, because power comes with expectations from yourself. It's easier to stay predictable, comfortable, weak. Weakness doesn't demand anything from you. Strength does. But you will stop after today, because once you understand what you're losing, you won't tolerate it anymore. You're losing your masculinity, your testosterone drops, your motivation drops, your energy drops, your drive drops. You wake up tired, you go to sleep tired, you start your day with guilt or end it with regret. You think you're relaxing, but you're actually draining yourself. You're lowering the very chemicals that make you competitive, bold, driven, hungry. You're losing your confidence. Your posture becomes weak. Your presence becomes dull. Your eye contact disappears. You don't walk like a man who is proud of himself. You walk like a man who feels ashamed, even if you don't say it. You're losing your focus. You can't concentrate for more than a few minutes. Your mind jumps around like a restless child because it's been rewired for quick hits of pleasure instead of deep focus. You can't read, you can't work, you can't study, you can't sit with your own thoughts. You feel irritated for no reason. Distracted for no reason, dissatisfied for no reason. You're losing your emotional control. Small problems feel big. Minor issues feel overwhelming. You get angry easily. You get drained easily. You get triggered easily. You snap easily. You get lost in your head easily. And you know why? Because your brain is overstimulated and under-disciplined. You're losing your attraction, not just romantic attraction, but social attraction. People sense your energy. They sense your confidence. They sense your presence. A man who is disciplined has a different aura. A man who is not fades into the background. You become invisible, not because you're not handsome, not because you're not capable, but because your energy is weak. You're losing your ambition. Your goals don't excite you anymore. Your dreams don't feel achievable anymore. Your passions don't feel powerful anymore. You start settling for the bare minimum because your brain doesn't believe in delayed gratification anymore. You're losing your spiritual strength. Your willpower is weakened. Your clarity is blurred. Your desire for growth is blocked. You become disconnected from your purpose and your peace. This habit takes everything and gives you nothing. But here is the moment you've been avoiding. You are stronger than this. You are built for more than this. Your journey doesn't end here. It begins when you say, I refuse to let this habit control my life. Imagine the version of you who quits. Imagine the confidence. Imagine the focus. Imagine the discipline. Imagine the energy. Imagine the ambition. Imagine the clarity. Imagine the self-control. Imagine the masculinity. Imagine the pride you would feel waking up every morning knowing your mind is stronger than your impulses. That version of you is real. That version of you is waiting. That version of you is already inside you, suffocated by a habit that doesn't deserve your time, your energy, or your life. You don't need punishment to quit. You need purpose. You need a vision that excites you more than a screen. You need a reason that is bigger than your temptation. And here's the truth you must accept. No technique will save you unless you decide to save yourself. No advice will help you unless you want to help yourself. No strategy will work unless you are willing to feel uncomfortable for a while. Self-control is not about fighting desires. It's about building a life where cheap pleasure feels beneath you. The day you realize your future is worth more than a few seconds of escape is the day this habit dies in your life. You will stop masturbating after you know this truth. You were never weak. You were distracted. You were never powerless. You were unfocused. You were never broken. You were misled. You don't need to become someone else. You need to return to yourself, the version of you before the addiction, before the guilt, before the distraction. The real you is waiting, and he is powerful, stronger than his urges, stronger than his impulses, stronger than his habits, stronger than the version of himself he's trying to escape from. This is your turning point. This is your wake-up call. This is the moment you rise again. Not because someone forced you, not because someone judged you, but because you finally respect yourself enough to walk away from what is killing your potential. You deserve a life that excites you, not a habit that drains you. You deserve self-control. You deserve clarity. You deserve power. You deserve purpose. And now you know the truth. And the more you understand this pattern, the more you realize this habit was never about pleasure. It was about escape, escape from pressure, escape from responsibility, escape from boredom, escape from expectations, escape from the voice inside you that keeps telling you that you're capable of more. Every time you felt overwhelmed, you reached for the easiest exit, and slowly that exit became a cage. But I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine the version of you who doesn't escape anymore. The version of you who faces discomfort head on. The version of you who feels an urge and says, no, I choose discipline today. Imagine the power that would build inside you. The quiet, unshakable confidence, the control, the direction, the fire. Do you even remember what it feels like to wake up with real energy, with real hunger for life, with a mind that's sharp, focused, awake? You can get that back. It's not lost. It's buried beneath a habit that has taken too much space in your life. Once you remove it, you will be shocked at how much potential you had the whole time. Your mood will lift, your confidence will multiply, your focus will sharpen, your drive will return, your body will feel stronger, your presence will feel heavier, your communication will feel clearer, your relationships will feel deeper. Because this habit doesn't just drain you physically, it drains your spirit. It kills your ambition slowly. It softens your discipline day by day. It convinces you that comfort is more important than progress, that pleasure is more important than purpose, that easy is better than meaningful. But there comes a moment in every man's life where he looks at his reflection and realizes something very important. There are two versions of you, one that wins and one that settles. And the distance between them is discipline. The problem is, you've been feeding the weaker version, the version that wants comfort right now, the version that wants relief right now, the version that wants escape right now. And every time you give him what he wants, the stronger version starves a little more. But something is changing in you, slowly, silently. You're starting to wake up. You're starting to question your own patterns. You're starting to see what this habit is costing you. You're starting to feel the weight of your own potential. And that awareness is dangerous. Dangerous to your addiction, dangerous to your excuses, dangerous to the version of you that wants to keep you small. The moment awareness enters, the habit begins to die because you can't unknow the truth. You can't unsee what this habit has taken from you. You can't pretend you don't feel the guilt, the emptiness, the frustration afterward. You can't lie to yourself anymore by saying it's nothing. You know it's something. You know it's affecting you. You know it's dulling your mind, dimming your ambition, draining your masculinity. And now the question becomes, how long will you keep sacrificing your future for a few seconds of relief? You have goals inside you that are bigger than this habit. You have strength inside you that is greater than this struggle. You have a future that deserves your full power, not your leftover energy. And deep down, you already know this. You know you weren't born to spend your life chasing fake dopamine. You weren't designed to waste your energy on something that gives you nothing in return. You weren't meant to feel ashamed of yourself. You weren't meant to feel weak around your own urges. You were meant to rise. You were meant to conquer. You were meant to lead. You were meant to become a man with direction, with clarity, with self-respect. Every time you say no to this habit, you're not losing anything and you're gaining yourself back. Your discipline comes back. Your confidence comes back. Your focus comes back. Your drive comes back. Your masculinity comes back. Your hunger for life comes back. And with every small victory, you start to feel something powerful building inside you, momentum, the kind of momentum that changes your life, the kind of momentum that makes you unstoppable, the kind of momentum that transforms your habits, your mindset, your energy, your potential. Because quitting isn't about punishment. It's about elevation. It's about becoming the version of you that your younger self would be proud of. It's about finally having control over your choices instead of being controlled by your cravings. And when that shift happens, when you start caring about your future more than your impulses, when you start valuing purpose more than pleasure, when you start respecting yourself more than your urges, everything in your life begins to change quietly, beautifully, powerfully. And as you move through this journey, something else begins to happen. Your mind starts to clear. The fog that used to live in your head, the heaviness you could never explain, the random sadness, the random irritation, the random emptiness, it all begins to fade. You start recognizing emotions you never had space to feel before. You start understanding yourself instead of running from yourself. You start hearing your own thoughts instead of drowning them in dopamine. Because when your brain is not overstimulated, it starts to heal. When your energy is not drained, it starts to build. When your mind is not scattered, it starts to focus. And when you stop escaping, you finally start growing. You begin to realize how much time you've been wasting, how many opportunities you ignored, how many ideas you postponed, how many moments of confidence you killed before they even had a chance to grow. You start noticing that you weren't tired, you were drained, you weren't lazy, you were overstimulated, You weren't broken, you were distracted. The real you starts returning. The version of you who once believed in big goals. The version of you who wanted to lead. The version of you who wanted to build. The version of you who felt excited about life. The version of you who didn't rely on escape to survive. And as this stronger version grows, the weaker version, the addicted version, starts losing its grip. What used to feel like an urge now feels like a test you can pass. What used to feel powerful now feels small. What used to control you now feels beneath you, because the truth is, urges don't control strong men. Strong men control their urges. And strength is not something you're born with. It's something you build daily, painfully, intentionally. Each time you refuse the urge, you rewrite your identity. You say to yourself, I am not the man I used to be. You say to your mind, I'm in charge now. You say to your future, I'm coming for you. And that energy starts showing in everything, in your walk, in your posture, in your voice, in your work, in your discipline. People feel it. You feel it. You stop being emotionally numb. You stop being mentally scattered. You stop being physically weak. You stop being spiritually disconnected. You start vibrating with purpose. And purpose is attractive. Purpose is powerful. Purpose is magnetic. Purpose is healing. You start to realize that your energy was never meant to be wasted on screens and fantasies. It was meant to be invested into your mission, your career, your health, your relationships, your self-respect. Every successful man you admire, every focused man you respect, every disciplined man you look up to, they didn't get there by indulging their impulses. They got there by mastering them, and you can do the same. This habit once felt like a comfort zone. Now you see it for what it truly is, a cage disguised as comfort. And when you realize that, you don't run from urges, you rise above them. Because now, every time the urge comes, you understand it's not your identity, it's just a moment, a wave, and waves don't last. You breathe, you wait, you ground yourself, and the power returns to you. The more you practice this, the faster your brain rewires, the stronger your discipline becomes, the easier the fight gets, and something beautiful happens. The urges stop being your enemy. They become your reminders, reminders that you're overcoming something, reminders that you're breaking a cycle, reminders that you're becoming a man who chooses purpose over pleasure. You begin to live with a different level of awareness. You start saying no, not because you're forcing yourself, but because you no longer want to betray your own potential. You start valuing your energy like currency. You start protecting your mind like territory. You start respecting your discipline like a sacred gift. And as that inner respect grows, your life begins to align. And at the end of all this, there comes a moment where you finally ask yourself the question that changes everything. What kind of man do I want to be? Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because your life isn't shaped by what you hope for. It's shaped by what you choose, and every choice you make either builds you or breaks you. You have spent enough of your life giving your power away to a habit that never gave you anything back. Enough hiding, enough guilt, enough shame, enough running from yourself. This is the moment you rise. This is the moment you reclaim your strength. This is the moment you decide that your future is worth more than your impulses. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be determined. You just need to stay committed. You just need to say, I refuse to destroy myself for temporary pleasure. Because when a man becomes stronger than his temptations, he becomes unstoppable. When a man chooses discipline over distraction, life opens for him. When a man respects himself, the world starts respecting him too. And when a man breaks this habit, he activates a level of clarity, confidence, and masculinity he never realized he was capable of. The path ahead is not easy, but it is worth it. The urges will come, but so will your strength. The temptation will whisper, but your purpose will speak louder. You are not fighting a habit. You are fighting for your future, for your identity, for your potential, for the man you were always meant to become. So walk out of this room, this moment, this video, knowing one thing with absolute certainty. You are stronger than your impulses. You are bigger than your weaknesses. You are capable of a life that requires courage, not escape. And today, right now, is the day you start living that life. Because once a man sees the truth, he can never go back to the lies. And now you've seen the truth.